September 2025, Madagascar witnessed one of its most intense surges of protest in years. The youth, especially students and recent graduates, took to the streets of the capital and other cities, demanding relief from severe water and electricity outages. What began as protests over basic service failure soon morphed into a broader political confrontation, exposing deep grievances about governance, inequality, and accountability. The proximate spark was repeated electricity blackouts and water cuts, where households endured outages lasting 12 hours or more per day. Public complaints had grown frequent, while the national water and power utility is widely perceived as failing to maintain infrastructure, manage supply, or allocate resources equitably. These failures resonated broadly. Students trying to study or attend remote classes, small businesses needing power, and households needing clean water all felt the pinch. Beyond that, deeper frustrations lay simmering. Many young people struggled to find stable and decent work. The Rajoelina administration, re-elected in 2023 under contested conditions, has been criticized for inaction and elite capture. Protesters frequently invoke corruption, nepotism, and unfair access to resources, while the protests in Kenya and Nepal have provided models of how digitally coordinated youth-led campaigns can challenge entrenched elites, both tactically as well as symbolically. Water and electricity cuts were the match. The tinder was a generations-long held frustration with a governance system seen as unresponsive. Similar to Nepal, the youth used social media, namely Facebook and digital networks, to call for protests, circulate schedules, and coordinate actions. Protesters adopted visual symbols from other movements, like the one-piece Jolly Roger skull as an anti-regime emblem, echoing the youth protests in Nepal. Uniforms including black clothing, straw hats, and coordinated walkouts from campuses added a theatrical quality that amplified media attention. The first protests were largely marches and sit-ins, but as police intervened with tear gas and crowd dispersal, protesters adapted, setting up road barricades, targeting infrastructure, and at times resorting to looting of stores and vandalism, especially of properties linked to pro-government elites. The protests did not remain confined to Antananarivo. They spread to other urban centers at Mahajanga, Tomasina, and Antisrabe. In many localities, protesters attacked government offices, cut utility cables, and damaged the infrastructure. From the start, the state responded forcefully. Police deployed tear gas, rubber bullets, and in some areas even live ammunition. Authorities declared dusk to dawn curfews in Antananarivo and extended them to other cities. Military forces were mobilized to guard key installations, and security was heightened around political residences and utility plants. The UN estimates that at least 22 deaths and 100 people were injured in the protests. The government strongly contested those numbers, stating that UN figures were based on rumors or misinformation. National security forces also detained activists, arrested a member of parliament, and suppressed media covering the protests. However, under mounting pressure on September 26th, President Rajoelina dismissed Energy Minister Jean-Baptiste Olivier, citing failure to perform, and blamed him for the outages. But on September 29th, Rajoelina announced the dismissal of Prime Minister Christian Nitze and the entire cabinet, promising to form a new government and open dialogue. Moreover, in televised remarks, Rajoelina acknowledged failures, apologized to citizens, and pledged reforms and support to businesses hit by looting. However, critics say these are surface moves that avoid structural accountability or transformation. The Madagascar protest represents more than a revolt over power cuts and water outages. They are a youthful reckoning with a system long perceived as unresponsive, unequal, and opaque. What started as a demand for basic services has ripened into deeper claims: accountability, justice, and structural reform. The government's response so far has demonstrated both vulnerability and conservatism. But the protest escalation suggests the anger will not be placated by surface-level changes, reflecting a new political consciousness among the Malagasy youth. Where the protests go from here will depend heavily on whether the government can deliver real change and whether it is willing to share power, even partially, with those it has long ignored. Otherwise, the confrontation may become a prolonged crisis, challenging the very legitimacy of governance in Madagascar.
fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing.